It's hard to keep up with the modern world because it's all changing so quickly. The world I live in at the moment, in the 21st century, has completely changed than the one I grew up in, because I was born in 1940. And everything has changed. For example, the church has changed completely. Church used to be the centre and an absolute epicenter of our lives. Now it's not so. I would look out that window behind me there years ago, you see those roads would be like people rushing to a football match going to mass. Nowadays it's quite different. People go if they want to, and if they care about it, and if they want to have a relationship with God. They didn't do that when I was young. We went because if we didn't go, all hell would break loose, and the neighbours would know and talk, and that was no way to live a life anyway. So I think it's one of those things that things are much better. But I do have to drag myself into the 21st century sometimes. For example, at the end of writing a book called Night of Rate of the Stars, I kept looking at it before the day I gave it in. I said, there's something wrong with this book. There's something wrong with it. And then I realised that nobody had a mobile phone. Everybody should have had a cell phone. They shouldn't have had to go to the hotel to make calls, and yet it was essential for the book that they did go to the hotel to make calls. So what did I do? So literally on the last night before I gave it in, I went through the whole book again, and occasionally I put people trying to take out their cell phones and discovering because of the mountains there was no signal. But I was so pleased that I had done that, because the first letter of rage would have been, where has she been for the last years that all these people would be without some form of communication. And so I do have to remind myself occasionally. I don't know about young people now. When we were young, everybody was absolutely terrified that the big terror was that you might become a little bit pregnant before you got married. I mean, this was like a black cloud all over the sky. And we were very, very different and cared very much about things. I don't know whether any of your readers would know this, but we used to wear a thing called a modesty vest. It was a little triangle of material put on top of your bosom in case somebody might see the cleavage, a man might see the cleavage. And if the man saw the cleavage, naturally he would go mad and it would be your fault. So, I mean, I grew up in this world, and it's so amazing to see how normal it is now compared to the world I grew up in. If I tell my nieces or my cousins' children about it, they just think I'm making up stories, and they say, aren't you a great storyteller? But it's true. We did have modesty vests, and yeah, we were all completely crippled with fear of doing the wrong thing, and that's all gone. A very confident race, the Irish now, delighted with themselves, I'm glad to say.